Hello folks, and welcome to my first video of the year. And in April, yes, one day before Garry Kasparov's birthday tomorrow. Now, isn't that early? I bet it is. Apologies for the big gap, but as you already know by now, I'm not really comfortable recording these videos, so and other things are the main reasons, but obviously not an excuse. Now, not being comfortable recording the videos usually means that I think about these things and why I'm not comfortable doing them. And normally the conclusion is always the same, and that is that being not comfortable with something is a sign for me to do that thing on a more frequent basis. I usually try to challenge myself by overcoming my comfort zone and pushing myself out of it. In other words, let's just call this year the year of video for me. I'm still not sure how that's going to pan out, but at least it's a challenge. Now, I'll keep this one as usual short and hopefully instructive. So I wanted to draw your attention to Caruana's latest triumph in the Grenke Classic after the big triumph in the candidates, about which I wrote extensively on my blog, which I recommend you check if you haven't already. Caruana came to Grenke probably tired, without a lot of energy, as he himself said after the tournament, but the good form sort of continued, and he won the tournament a full point ahead of Magnus Carlsen, which is a rare feat, especially in 9 rounds. Now, the two games I would like to draw your attention to are his big, let's say, novelties, and those came very early in the games, and this is a sort of a trend I have noticed lately, that people are trying to surprise their opponents as early as possible. If you remember, for example, Kramnik's move Rook G8 in his game against Aronian in the Berlin candidates, that was kind of early and kind of shocking. So this trend has been going on for some time now. Obviously, Caruana applied some of his surprises in Grenke. Perhaps the more surprising was the move Queen D7 in this position that you're looking at in his last round game against Vityugov, in a game where he needed a draw to win the tournament, even though, just as in Berlin, he went on to win the game. Now, Queen D7 is a really awkward move to make, and definitely not one that comes easily to mind. But that is the whole point. I wanted to just say that how these big guns come up with their novelties. Well, it's not a big secret actually, and it should not come as a surprise when I tell you that they basically let the engines run at a very big depth, and the engines come up with some surprising moves. Queen D7 is a result of one such engine work, and because if you let your own engine run, it will not show, for example, the move Queen D7 that early. For example, you can check here my own stockfish at depth like 18, 19, it does not show the move in the first 4 moves. So this meant that obviously the engines and the hardware these guys use is incomparably stronger and better than my own laptop, but that is how they come up with their novelties. So if you have good hardware, and you can use it to produce novelties at a very early stage. Just as a reminder, in his game against Grischuk, he played the usual move Knight D2. So the idea behind Queen D7 is that for the time being, Black keeps the knight on E4, because now White cannot take like this, because after the exchange he is losing the e5 pawn. In the game after bishop d3, knight c5 with a tempo, and g6, another interesting concept in the Petrov, frequently used by Caruana. If you remember, he used g6, the fianchetto, in his games against So and Kramnik in the Berlin candidates, albeit in a different variation. So g6, an ambitious move, trying to fianchetto the bishop and attack e5. And after the knight coming to e6, black had a very comfortable position already. So as a result of this novelty, and obviously his good play afterwards, Caruana also won this game and won the tournament. Previously, in his game against Meyer, Caruana introduced another early novelty, move 10 still, in the exchange variation of the Ruy Lopez, or the Spanish. So in this position, arising after bishop c6, dc6, castle, queen f6, possible move among the many, d4 takes, and all this being normal theory. The usual move so far here has been queen g6, but Caruana introduced the sharp g5. This move, however, does show on my laptop, so perhaps things are not as desperate for people who do not possess some very good hardware. So g5 did show. It's a good move, perhaps inspired by Kramnik's rook g8 and g5 against Aronian, maybe not. And after knight f3, rook g8, and now it would have been best for white to exchange queens, but after h4, queen g6, black already had a strong attack as early as move 12, and he went on to win the game. These examples show that how important it is to surprise your opponent as early in the game as possible, and frequently also with very sharp moves in what are normally considered tame openings. For example, the exchange Ruy Lopez in this case, the anti-Berlin in Kramnik's case against Aronian, and also even the Petrov in the Vityugov game, although that one was not really as sharp as this one. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this short video, my return to activity, and I hope to see you more frequently in the near future. Take care.